The Buffalo Bills are staring at a golden opportunity on Monday Night Football. With a win, they improved to 5 wins and just 1 loss heading into the bye week, a position every team dreams of early in the season. But standing in their way are the Atlanta Falcons, a squad that's been wildly inconsistent but dangerously talented, especially on offense. The matchup is set for prime time, kicking off earlier than usual at 7:15 p.m. Eastern at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, one of the few NFL venues Josh Allen has yet to conquer in the regular season. That changes this week, and it's not just a new stadium for Allen. It's also another chance for him and this Buffalo team to show they can bounce back strong after a frustrating loss to the Patriots. That game left a bad taste, no question. But now the Bills get a chance to reset the tone and remind the league why they're considered contenders. Let's dive into the battle that's about to unfold. The Falcons enter this game fresh off their bye, sitting at 2 wins and 2 losses. Their season has been a roller coaster, with wins over the Vikings and Commanders, but ugly losses to the Buccaneers and a blowout at the hands of the Panthers. Still, Atlanta isn't short on talent. They've invested heavily in top 10 picks at key offensive positions, and they're starting to shape an identity, even if they haven't quite found consistency. At the center of it all is rookie quarterback Michael Penix. A first-round pick, 8th overall out of Washington, Penix is one of the more intriguing young signal callers in the league. He's got the size, standing 6'3" and weighing over 200 pounds, and he's got the arm talent to make every throw on the field. But the numbers so far, they're a bit shaky. He's completed just 62% of his passes, averaging 230 yards per game, with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions across his first 4 starts this year. But the most surprising thing about Penix? For a guy with elite athleticism, he ran a 4.46 40 at his pro day. He simply doesn't use his legs. In college, with nearly 1,200 dropbacks, he scrambled just 35 times. In the NFL, through 7 starts, that trend has continued. Only 11 scrambles for 50 yards. He's a classic pocket passer, even if his physical tools suggest he could be something more dynamic. That might be because of his long injury history, or maybe it's just how he's wired. Either way, he's not a threat to take off and run. That simplifies things for the Bills' defense. Still, what he lacks in mobility, he tries to make up for with quick processing. Penix throws to his first read almost 70% of the time, and his average time to throw is 2.57 seconds, middle of the pack. But here's the thing, he rarely attacks deep. Just under 5% of his throws travel more than 20 yards downfield, one of the lowest rates in the league. And when he does go deep, the results haven't been there. He's completed just one of 7 deep shots for 43 yards total this season. That means a lot of their offense is built around yards after the catch, specifically getting the ball into the hands of playmakers like Bijan Robinson. Over half of Penix's passing yards have come after the catch, 6th highest in the NFL. And while he hasn't thrown many dangerous balls, his turnover-worthy play rate is actually among the best in the league. He also hasn't been particularly accurate. Only 73% of his passes are considered catchable, which puts him near the bottom third in the league. So, what do the Falcons have around him to support the offense? Start with Bijan Robinson. He's not just a weapon, he's a problem. This guy can do it all. He's explosive, slippery, powerful, and can catch out of the backfield. If you're building a prototype for a modern NFL running back, he looks a lot like Bijan. And alongside him is Tyler Allgeier, a bruising runner who provides balance to their backfield. Through 4 games, Robinson has 64 carries and 23 targets, while Allgeier has 43 carries. That's a serious 1-2 punch. Then there's the receiving core. Drake London is the #1 target, and for good reason. He's a big, physical wideout who can win at the catch point and run crisp routes. He's already stepped into that alpha receiver role. If Darnell Mooney plays, he's been dealing with an injury. They'll get a guy who can stretch the field and threaten deep. Ray McLeod, a former Bill, works the slot and brings some speed and agility underneath. And then you've got Kyle Pitts at tight end. The former top 5 pick hasn't quite lived up to expectations consistently, but the talent is undeniable. He's a matchup nightmare when used correctly. And this year, he started to look more like the player everyone expected. But don't forget, Atlanta doesn't just have skilled players. They've got a line that's quietly doing a solid job. Left tackle Jake Matthews has been a rock for years, while left guard Matthew Bergeron, a young player out of Syracuse, is developing well. At center, Ryan Neal is one of the better undrafted success stories in recent memory, and right guard Chris Lindstrom might be the best in the league at his position. Their only real weakness is at right tackle, where veteran Elijah Wilkinson is filling in for the injured Kaleb McGarry. Wilkinson's not terrible, but he's not an ideal starter either. That's a matchup the Bills' defensive ends need to exploit. So, how does Buffalo slow this offense down? First and foremost, it starts with Bijan Robinson. The Bills have faced backs like Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley in the past, and sometimes it's gone well. Sometimes not so much. Robinson is in that same elite tier. The Bills have to sell out to keep him from taking over the game, whether that means stacking the box, changing personnel, or just swarming to the ball. The plan has to be built around slowing number 7 down. Secondly, make Penix prove he can beat you deep. Through 4 games, he's been awful throwing downfield. On throws of 10 yards or more, he's completing just 39% of his passes. No touchdowns, 2 picks. His passer rating? A brutal 45.8. That's dead last in the NFL. Completion percentage over expected? -6.8. Also near the bottom. He's not just struggling. He's sinking when asked to push the ball. The Bills should dare him to take shots and tighten up near the line of scrimmage to clog up the short passing game that Atlanta leans on. Next up is Christian Benford. The corner has had a rocky start of the year, but he's got a chance for redemption going up against Drake London. That's a heavyweight matchup, and one that Benford should be equipped for. He's physical, long, and can match up well against a bigger receiver. If there was ever a week for Benford to flash the form we saw in past seasons, it's this one. The Bills will need it. And finally, there's the opportunity against the backup right tackle. Greg Rousseau and Von Miller have to make their presence felt. Miller's been a bit quiet lately, but Rousseau is coming off a strong performance. Going up against a career journeyman like Wilkinson should offer plenty of chances to disrupt Penix, especially since it's his blind side with Penix being a lefty. The Falcons might try to help with tight ends or chip blocks, but the Bills have to win there. This isn't going to be a walk in the park. The Falcons have enough talent to give anyone a fight, and coming off the bye week, they'll be rested and ready. But this is a game Buffalo should win, and needs to win, if they want to enter the bye with momentum and keep pace in a crowded AFC race. The pieces are in place. The question is whether the Bills show up ready to handle business. Now that we've broken down the Falcons' offense and what the Bills' defense needs to do, it's time to flip the script and talk about how Buffalo's offense matches up with this Atlanta defense. And this is where things get really interesting because the Falcons might not have the biggest names on defense, but they're young, fast, aggressive, and they've been producing. Through 4 games, they're allowing just over 21 points per game, sitting right in the middle of the pack. But when you dig into the numbers, it gets a lot more complicated. They're ranked 9th in defensive EPA per play, which shows they're getting stops. They're especially stingy against the pass, ranking 5th in EPA per dropback. But their Achilles heel, the run game. They're 27th in EPA per rush, and that could be a huge advantage for a Bills offense that's been cooking on the ground. So while they've shown they can defend the pass, they've had real problems stopping teams that can mash them up front, and Buffalo fits that mold when they want to. The Falcons are coordinated by Jeff Ulbrich, a coach very familiar with the Bills. He was with the Jets for several seasons, including as defensive coordinator, and he's gone up against Josh Allen more than most. He knows Allen's tendencies, and Allen knows what to expect from Ulbrich. That cat-and-mouse game will be a key factor in this matchup. One thing to watch is how aggressive Atlanta chooses to be, because so far, they've brought the heat. They lead the NFL in blitz rate, sending extra rushers on 44% of their defensive snaps. And it's working. They're 7th in pressure rate. But again, you have to ask, are they really that disruptive, or did they just take advantage of young and backup quarterbacks in their first 4 games? They opened the season against Baker Mayfield and a Buccaneers team missing several offensive linemen. Then they faced J.J. McCarthy in just his second career start. After that, it was Bryce Young, who's still figuring things out, and Marcus Mariota, who was missing his number one receiver. So it's fair to say this defense hasn't been tested by a high-level quarterback yet. That changes on Monday. Josh Allen has been excellent this season against the blitz. He's 7th in the league in EPA per dropback when facing extra pressure, and he's only pressured on 27% of blitz dropbacks, the 3rd lowest in the NFL. That means Allen and the Bills' offensive line are doing a great job picking up blitzes, communicating protections, and getting the ball out quickly or creating with Allen's legs. Atlanta might be tempted to keep dialing up pressure, but they could pay for it against a quarterback like Allen. Another thing to keep in mind is how the Falcons cover. They play a ton of single high looks, mostly cover 3, with some cover 1 and cover 4 mixed in. They rank 2nd in cover 3 usage and 7th in cover 4. But what really stands out is how rarely they play split safety coverage. In fact, they have the lowest rate of 2 high safety shells in the NFL. That opens up opportunities in the middle of the field, especially down the seams and in the flats. Exactly the areas where Allen loves to attack with his tight ends and crossing routes. Buffalo should be able to exploit those tendencies. And let's talk about their personnel. The Falcons' defensive line is a mix of veterans and young players still finding their footing. David Onyemata is their anchor on the interior. He's a solid, all-around defensive tackle, not elite, but reliable against both the run and pass. Zach Harrison and Brandon Dorlus are young, long-armed linemen who play outside the tackles in 5 technique roles, trying to control the edges and collapse pockets. Rook Orhoro, their 2nd-round pick out of Clemson, is raw but athletic. He's powerful, twitchy, and still learning, but the traits are there. On the edge, there's a lot of speed. They've brought in Leonard Floyd, a familiar name for Bills fans, and while he's getting up there in age, he's still capable of providing quality snaps. Arnold Ebiketie is another rotational pass rusher who led them in sacks last season, though he's more of a 3rd-option edge. But the most interesting additions are their 2 rookie first-round picks, Jalen Walker from Georgia and James Pierce from Tennessee. These guys are cut from the same cloth, light, explosive, bendy pass rushers who can fly off the edge. They're all around 245 pounds, and while they might get pushed around in the run game, they're dangerous on passing downs. It's clear the Falcons have a type when it comes to edge defenders: fast, twitchy, and relentless. But here's the problem for Atlanta. Their front is tiny. Only one player on their entire defense weighs over 300 pounds, and that's Onyemata. Their edge rushers are all sub-250. One of their starting linebackers, Divine Deablo, is a converted safety who weighs 223 pounds. This group is fast, but they're undersized across the board. That's where the Bills need to impose their will. They've got the personnel to get big, bring in multiple tight ends, use Alec Anderson, and run right at this defense. James Cook should see a heavy workload. He's been explosive all season, and this matchup favors his style of play. And it's not just about downhill runs. These Falcons corners struggle to tackle. A.J. Terrell, Mike Hughes, Billy Bowman, all of them are below average tacklers. Buffalo can challenge them by running to the perimeter, getting blockers in space, and forcing defensive backs to make one-on-one tackles against big-bodied backs or receivers like Diggs and Davis. That's not a fight Atlanta wants. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, sources suggest that Myles Garrett, the dominant defensive end long associated with the Cleveland Browns, may be on the verge of abandoning the team that drafted him to suit up for the Buffalo Bills. The rumor, which began circulating late last night, has fans and analysts alike buzzing with speculation about what this could mean for both franchises. Garrett, who has been a cornerstone of Cleveland's defense for years, is no stranger to headlines, but nothing quite like this. Insiders hint that tensions behind the scenes in Cleveland, combined with a desire to chase a Super Bowl ring, may have fueled the potential move. The Bills, known for their aggressive approach to free agency and high-profile acquisitions, reportedly see Garrett as the missing piece to elevate their pass rush to an elite level, pairing him with an already formidable defensive lineup. While neither team has confirmed the whispers, social media has exploded with reactions, memes, and heated debates. Browns fans are expressing disbelief and frustration, questioning whether the franchise can retain other key players if one of their biggest stars is genuinely considering a switch. Meanwhile, Bills supporters are reveling in the prospect, imagining the havoc Garrett could wreak on opposing quarterbacks in the AFC East. League insiders caution that negotiations are likely complex, involving salary cap considerations and potential trade packages. Some speculate that a blockbuster trade could be on the horizon, with Cleveland seeking high-value draft picks or young talent in return. Meanwhile, Garrett's potential fit in Buffalo is generating excitement among analysts, who point out that pairing his explosive pass-rushing ability with the Bills' already solid defensive schemes could create one of the league's most feared defensive fronts. As the NFL world holds its collective breath, one thing is clear. If the rumor is true, the ripple effects will be felt for seasons to come. Fans are left to wonder, could this be the beginning of a new era in Buffalo, or a dramatic turning point for a Cleveland team suddenly facing an uncertain defensive future? Until an official announcement is made, the speculation is only likely to intensify, keeping the football world buzzing. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.